are so happy, super happy. Forza Barça, brought like to Forza Ferrari as we dismantle all the competition, starting with Red Bulls and McLarens and then very cute Mercedes-Benz. Yeah, Forza Ferrari, 1, 2, 3 stops, we can do it all. Forza Ferrari, welcome to Special Family Lewis Hamilton, Forza Ferrari, yeah, we got it, oh my god, what a fantastic victory over here at the circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. We are, of course, absolutely, over the moon. Yeah, Jimmy, just like Hamilton, can hardly catch the breath as, of course, we will be finally celebrating with this beautiful Formula 1 Grand Prix, the shiny golden winner trophies, because this race has panned out absolutely perfectly. And of course, one of our favorite circuits, the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, which should definitely host the race every single season, because of course it provided such a wonderful entertainment. And over here as we are celebrating the first victory since pretty much Mexico 2024, we will tell you everything about this race, why it really should have been Ferrari's 1-2, and why this is really the true start of the Formula 1 season in the 2026, especially with regards, of course, to how the rules are formatted. So yeah, but we will be celebrating a lot, right? That's right. So over here, let me first, of course, put on this magnificent medal, because it was so great and fantastic to see Hamilton win. And of course, over here we were celebrating, like a champion. So over here, you can see that for me personally, I won at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, the Spanish Grand Prix 2 times, but we were obviously aiming for the third one. We didn't get it, but Hamilton has gotten his 7th win as he surpassed another hero, 7-time Formula 1 champion Michael Schumacher, who of course, just like Lewis Hamilton, has gotten his first Formula 1 Grand Prix win for the Scarlet Ferraris, the Scuderia Ferrari, here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. And that was actually 30 years ago, so 30 years to the time that Michael Schumacher dominated and dismantled the competition, just like Lewis Hamilton did, but in completely opposite conditions. Not when it was a beautiful blue sky, sunny summer day, but when it was pretty much raining, it was all gloomy, in the early summer days of 1996 in the 2026. You can see how wonderful the world is. And just like Hamilton said, he's pretty much in a perfect state of mind. And what a race this was. A great tactical race, and I think we finally delivered the performance that we deserve. And it's just a pity that Charles Leclerc wouldn't be joining us obviously here on the top step of the podium. So over here, we will take a look before we of course turn around our Scarlet Retina iMac over here. We will take a look at the standings, and of course we will also take a look at this wonderful race result and why it panned out this way. But first, let's celebrate with Lewis Hamilton by putting it over here, this fantastic medal for the Formula 1 Grand Prix winner. For the first time, we will don it with this great scarlet fashion for this season. Are you guys ready? You see me often do it in my season, but this is for real. 3, 2, 1, Forza Ferrari! Alright. So let me put it in over here. Yeah, around this lovely color. And obviously we have 4 fashions. And we hope that these 4 fashions for the 2026 season will all yield this beautiful medal for the Formula 1 Grand Prix winner over here. So let me put it in, and this is how the race reactions were obviously meant to be celebrating over here. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it looks fantastic. And of course we will be celebrating with our Tommy. Forza Ferrari! We've gotten it! What a great victory! Forza Ferrari! Great job, Lewis Hamilton! Only 7 times champion can do this. And how did you've gotten this wonderful trophy? So yeah, I will just be holding it because it really means so much. But we definitely hope it is the first of many. So when we arrived at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, obviously the big talking point was what was going to happen, to the pecking order. Obviously, we had some updates that were probably more powerful than we thought. So this is absolutely fantastic. The way we've been able to turn around the relative disappointment of Miami, where we were calling pretty much for the heads of the bosses, because that didn't work out. Thankfully, we brought in the updated package, but most importantly, that the piston compression ratio, has really been changed over here. So basically, everybody has to adhere to it, and I think, we simply do not lose any time on a straight now. And again, the package is fantastic through all of the turns. This Barcelona circuit we've of course been to. It is known, to have all types of corners, so it is a great reference for which, package, which car really is the best. And it's the Scarlet Red Ferrari, so lots of great positives to take over here from this magnificent result. And like Hamilton said, obviously with Leclerc we were strong, but it didn't look that good. People were favoring McLaren's, Benz being still strong, maybe Red Bull, but yeah, I think we pretty much maximized the setup for the race, and we saw that the tire degradation was gonna be severe. And of course, having these softer tires, the C4, C3, C2 compounds, meant that you were gonna really have to look after the tire wear, which I didn't when I was obviously racing over here for Scuderia Ferrari, when I had that big tussle with Verstappen for the 5th World Championship. So, we knew that tire degradation was much more serious over here, and it provided for a fantastic technical race, but also you could see a lot of amazing overtakes, again, with the battery power, right? You can see the cars, for example, going through unusual places. I mean, these overtakes on Piastri, both Leclerc and Hamilton around the outside of him, pretty much, that turn 3, that was, beautiful to see. And yeah, it pretty much meant that we've really cemented our place over here as the team to beat, and I think we have a great chance over here to turn the 2026 season into something special. It was really only in qualifying when we really started to show our true pace, and you can clearly see when everybody adheres to the rules. Again, we made up the most ground. This is exactly what we wanted to see happen. Even though at the beginning of the race it didn't look like, even though in qualifying it was still difficult to beat Mercedes. After all, George Russell picked Lewis Hamilton, I believe, by 0.064 seconds. So very big pity that Hamilton didn't get that pole position, but the race victory is what really matters, and Hamilton got it. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. The only thing is, I think it's a real pity that Charles Leclerc had a big, crash, at the beginning of the Q3. That's a really, I have to say, obviously, it's not a perfect result for us, but for Charles, it's so important, that he, just delivers. I mean, put in a bunker lap, because again, Antonelli and others in qualifying were 0.3 seconds slower. So, he could have easily, slotted, into P3. And of course, even though Russell had a good start, from there on, Leclerc could easily, make up the places to maybe finish second or even challenge Hamilton for a victory. And, it would have been much better than for what it eventually transpired. So as we obviously at 3 p.m. on a lovely summer afternoon here in the Forza Barça, the capital of the motor racing in the Catalonia region of the Spain, as we were all set up over there, we knew it was a tactical battle. We started on the soft tires with Lewis Hamilton. I believe Verstappen also did the same, and the goal was obviously to get the Mercedes-Benz off the line. Because once we were in the clear air, it was very clear that we were able finally for the first time this season to run away from them. And yeah, what happened was that at the start, Russell surprisingly has gotten a good start. We had a good pull away, but Mercedes really maximized, I would say, the second, particularly the third, fourth gear, and they were actually very surprisingly, able to keep the lead into the first corner. And for a while it looked like that was not the best strategy for Hamilton, but he did a great job looking after the soft tires. The mediums were also kind of tearing apart, but the most important thing was staying second, 2-3 seconds behind, Russell, and then going for the undercut, right? Going for the 3-stop, the very aggressive strategy. And yeah, at the beginning, actually Mercedes-Benz did the right thing by covering off Hamilton. So then, we would always have a Hamilton, Russell running on the same hard tires, but only 2 seconds apart. And obviously, Russell was kind of like, okay, we stopped too early, but actually it was a brilliant strategy because we could clearly see that we were able, to then easily catch up, the drivers in front, right? So all of a sudden, the offset of the pace was a big one. So basically, if you stop 3 times, you're looking at, the stints of really 15, 16 laps. But if you can lap over 1 second quicker than your opposition consistently, then of course the pit stop takes about 20-25 seconds. It's still, a long pit lane. Then this is the best way to go, right? And that's exactly what we did. So, I think already, from that moment on, it was clear it was the right strategy. But for example, with Leclerc, we did the overcut, right? And you could see that he was right on the Verstappen's tail. He's gotten a good, decent start, 7th place, went around Piastri for the 6th place, then was, fighting for 5th, but actually should have just, do what Hamilton did, and pretty much instead of the overcut, going for the undercut, because then easily, we would have been able to clear the Red Bull, and maybe he would have been then in the fight for the top honors. As things stand, obviously, by staying out, I think, 3, 4, 5 laps longer, he lost almost 10 seconds, to the Red Bull. So, if you pretty much overstayed, it was the wrong strategy. Hamilton was on the right one, and it was interesting that we stuck with it. On lap 28, after only 15 laps on the hard tire, Hamilton stopped again. This time, Mercedes would not, cover Hamilton, and that was the critical mistake. And that was actually the key to the victory. Oh, yay! Because all of a sudden, that gave us a great upset, and Hamilton started lapping so fast that, in pretty much just 10 laps, he could see Mercedes-Benz, and he could see, them pretty much just 6-7 seconds ahead, and it forced them into relatively early, stop for the second and final time, right? And then obviously the virtual safety car when the home hero Fernando Alonso stopped on the outside, I believe, of that blind corner turn 10, but kind of out of the harm's way. But obviously virtual safety car had to be deployed. We eventually at the end or at the beginning got a little bit unlucky that obviously Hamilton was just passing through the passing the pit lane entry, but then he was able to go the whole lap, stop for the tires, and we emerged in front, and that was really the game set. But we would have won anyway because the pace was so massive. Obviously Mercedes would be able to make up, a few of these places, but then we would be able to stop with, maybe 18, even 20 laps to go, and then, we would be able to hunt them down and overtake them because, on the evidence of how easily we overtook, for example, Piastri, just around the outside, it was almost like the cars were not there. So great racing, this offset strategy, made overtaking so easy, especially with the power pull, overtake the boost button. Hamilton pretty much speed up to the distance. I mean, you could see that he only, I think, stopped, he only had the tires on, I think, for 5 more laps. Then Russell and Antonelli, who maybe for 6 more laps, so we say Antonelli had to stop after Russell, and yeah, you could see, the difference was that he was pretty much lapping second faster. So the tire degradation was massive in this 30+ degrees Celsius. We played it to the perfection, but we had the ultimate pace, and then we got a little bit lucky, especially for the World Championship, because that's what we are really after, not just celebrate the first victory, when Antonelli retired after brilliantly passing, Russell. Again, you will think, hey, Hamilton's gonna retire, but maybe wouldn't it be smart to actually replace Leclerc with Antonelli if Leclerc doesn't get his, mojo back, because, he could have easily been up there, but you could see Antonelli once again, overtaking Russell on the road, but then breaking down just 2 laps later, pretty much at the same time that Leclerc's hydraulics let go with just, I think, 3-4 laps to go. Big pity, because once again we will be the highest scoring team, just like we were, for example, in Canada. It didn't happen in Monaco, but it should have. Here we were still, we scored the most points. But only equal actually with McLaren, who finished 3rd and 5th, right? So, they also scored 25 points. But it's a pity because, obviously we also have to think about the Constructors' Championship. And, any, time you can make up, up to 10 points, or on your rivals, especially when they don't finish like over here, we could make up 15+ points. That's very, very important, right? Because, we should be strong for the rest of the season. You can see there's still so much of the season, obviously, to go with 15 more fantastic Grand Prix. But I mean, this was a great result, one of Hamilton's best drives, and you could see how emotional he was. And I think it's really a destiny that both 7-time. The only two 7-time Formula 1 world champions, Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton, have managed to get their first victory for Scuderia Ferrari at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, the Olympic circuit, the circuit obviously of the best football team of the world, the FC Barcelona. We're using the FC Barcelona shoes to actually record this video. So yeah, it's just a dream come true. I just wish we were there to celebrate, because this is how the result finished. So everybody, let's take a look at it, okay? So over here we will turn it around, this beautiful scarlet red retina iMac over here. So I think you should turn it this way. Okay, a little bit confused over here. Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure you all can see it, and yeah, this is, finally, it will look so great on the pictures. So yeah, Lewis Hamilton over here, dominating and winning, oh yeah, this race for Scuderia Ferrari over here. You can see by 20 seconds eventually from George Russell. So brilliant strategy, would have been a bit less obviously if the virtual safety car wasn't there, but we were maybe robbed of a grandstand finish. But yeah, what a performance by Hamilton. I mean, this was exactly what he was hired for, and it will be interesting to see. Now he's leading Leclerc by 40 points in the championship. What does it mean, right? Will he be number one at Ferrari, fighting for that A title? We will see. Second, then finished George Russell, and Andrea Kimi Antonelli really should have had that second. So he is still the almighty, challenger for the title. But again, if we can, have Leclerc over there, I think the title race is wide open, especially with Russell's struggles. Third, Lando Norris, obviously the reigning champion for McLaren, finished third. Fourth, we then have Max Verstappen, the Red Bull, well down the road. The fifth, Oscar Piastri lucked to the fifth place for McLaren Mercedes because of Antonelli's and Leclerc's retirements. Sixth, Isaac Hadjar, who got a torrid start but recovered pretty well. Seven, Pierre Gasly for Alpine. 8, Franco Colapinto for Alpine, but actually he will be classified 10. That just came in because of the yellow flag infringement, right? When I believe Alonso was stationary, he didn't lift. Hamilton had, that momentary lift, thankfully, otherwise he would have also gotten a penalty, but it wouldn't matter, right? Exactly. Colapinto has actually gotten 10-second place penalty, but we would have won anyway, and this is what makes it so satisfying. It's not a lucky victory, it's a victory on a merit, and the pace is absolutely fantastic. And the circuit, where really, the best chassis engine combo, really the base race car, shines. This is a fantastic news. It went actually much better than I even expected. 9, promoted to 8 will be Liam Lawson for Racing Bulls, and 10th promoted to 9 will be Arvid Lindbergh, and Franco Colapinto will then be, of course, classified as 10. So this is how it finished. And obviously brilliant result by Hamilton. So let's take a look at what this means for 2026 Formula 1 driver's title. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, thankfully he built up that lead, 156 points. He is leading Hamilton, but now by only 41 points, which is incredible when you think that Hamilton won 1 race, Russell won, Antonelli obviously won 5, but you can see Lewis Hamilton is right up there, 115 points, and looking very strong. I mean, he's been the top performer pretty much ever since that botch race in Miami, and this is so great to see. I know it hurt him that he didn't get a chance to do better in Miami, but it's looking fantastic. And I think again, the next few races, I mean, you can really eat into Antonelli's lead, because if Leclerc will be there, maybe Hamilton, can he have an advantage? We will see what happens, for example, in Austria, right, with Russell and Antonelli often fighting. I mean, Russell probably will still get some upper hand on Antonelli. It's definitely possible, but definitely Andrea Kimi Antonelli is still looking like the favorite. I mean, that recovery drive to second was brilliant by him, but Hamilton, to be honest, over here has every chance, especially if, for example, we could put a couple of 1-2s with now Leclerc really second, because he's quite far in the championship. We could really Antonelli sooner rather than later. George Russell is the last driver into 100 points on 106 points, but obviously he will be a little bit, I would say, probably disappointed, that he has, that he is there in that position. And then we have obviously a fourth Charles Leclerc for Scuderia Ferrari, 75 points, 2 DNFs, in the last 2 races. And obviously in Canada he was struggling as well. He lost massive amounts of points. But if he can get his mojo back, I think he could still be the potential outside bet for a championship. Then we have 5th Lando Norris McLaren, 73 points. 6th Oscar Piastri now for McLaren, 68 points. So they switch back. World Champions is now again leading the way for McLaren. 7, Max Verstappen, Red Bull Racing, 55 points. 8, we have Pierre Gasly over here, racking up points for Alpine on 41 points. 9 is then Isaac Hadjar for Red Bull Racing, 34 points. That's 9th position. 10th position, Liam Lawson Racing Bulls, 26, that will be 28 points. I believe the table is not updated yet. And 11, Franco Colapinto Alpine. Well, he will actually drop back from 19 to 16 points. So 11 will then be over Berman for Haas, 18 points. He also needs to maybe get his mojo back a little bit. Then we will have 12, Franco Colapinto for Alpine on 16 points. And then we will have 13, Arvid Lindblad for Racing Bulls, who will be instead of 12 on 13 points. But again, that hasn't been decided yet. 14, Carlos Sainz Williams, 6 points. 15, Alexander Albon Williams, 5 points. 16, then we have, of course, Esteban Ocon has 3 points. 16, Gabriel Bortoleto for 17, rather Gabriel Bortoleto for Audi, 2 points, and 18, Fernando Alonso, Aston Martin, 1 point, dead last. And we are saying, is it coming like a full circle? He started his season in a by far the worst car on the grid, Minardi, and now he's in what looks like to be by far the worst car on the grid, Aston Martin. Huge surprise, but they were 1 second off the pace of the Cadillac, in qualifying. That's massive. 19 is then Nico Hülkenberg, Audi, 0 points. Unlucky not to get the points today. 20th, we then have Valtteri Bottas, Cadillac, 0 points. 21st, Sergio Perez, Cadillac, 0 points. 22nd, Lance Stroll, Aston Martin, of course, 0 points. So yeah, it's looking fantastic in a Drivers' Championship. And this is how it looks like in the Constructors' Championship for the 2026 FIA Formula 1 season. So Mercedes-Benz into 200 points on 262 points. And of course, then we have us as Scuderia Ferrari over here on 190 points. Could have been pretty much 200 with Leclerc, and that would have been very, very important over here, being 72 points behind. Again, we could be leading, at the halfway stage of the season. But after 2 races, pretty much, if we get a 1-2 and Mercedes does really badly, but every single time there's this retirement, we gotta keep that reliability, to make sure that we finish with both cars, and especially Leclerc, really, let's hope that he will deliver the pace. He doesn't even need to push to the limits. So that he's right up there with the 7-time champion Hamilton. 3rd, McLaren, 141 points. They finally seem to be shaken off for pretty much foreseeable future. 4th, Red Bull Racing on 89 points. 5th is Alpine, 60 points. 6th is then Racing Bulls, 38 points. 7, Haas, 21 points. 8, Williams, 11 points. 9, Audi, 2 points. 10, Aston Martin, 1 point. 11, Cadillac, 0 points. So yeah, this is how the driver's table, the constructor's table looks like. This is how the driver's table looks like, with Lewis Hamilton making a big charge. And obviously this is how the wonderful race finish with Hamilton, the victory, the victor over here. So yeah, everybody, we can turn our Scuderia Scarlet Red Retina iMac around. And yeah, before we of course sign off with our wonderful, the Ferrari national anthem over here, all we can say is that of course, for our very own race, we actually mismanaged it, right? Because we went only for 1 stop over here. So I really wanted to win here for the 3rd time. Hamilton won here 7 times. A great track. I mean, for me, obviously, I planted it on the pole position over here. So I got the, believe 4 pole positions here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. We also by far have gotten the fastest lap, but we stayed up until lap 40 pretty much, but we were able to defend easily against the Red Bulls, or like the battery deployment was fantastic. But yeah, I have to say, that we just stopped one lap too late. It cost us the 5 seconds and we couldn't actually then make it up. So over here, I'm glad that the real Ferraris, have gotten the strategy right. Of course, it means that we, for the first time since the opening race of the season, lost the lead of the World Championship, but this makes up for it, and I'm sure we will be back in what will now, kind of converge, because in the 2025-2025 season, we, of course, the next pretty much races, that we have, the next 7 races, they will be kind of out of sync. So real F1 cars go to Austria, we will go to Canada as we try to reclaim the lead in the championship. But now, everybody, let's celebrate this wonderful moment. Lewis Hamilton's first victory for Scuderia Ferrari, hopefully first of many, just like Michael Schumacher got it at the Spanish or the Barcelona Grand Prix, Barcelona Catalonia Grand Prix here at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalonia, and 30 years old, again, Hamilton replaced Schumacher, Michael at the Mercedes, and obviously over here now he's proving to be a worthy replacement for Scuderia Ferrari as well. And if he can challenge for the 8th world title that Michael couldn't have won, or what would soon could be 60th birthday for Michael Schumacher, I think that would be wonderful. So everybody, let's celebrate for the one final time. Are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1. And everybody, can we hear it? Yeah, of course we can. Okay. Are we guys ready? Dun, 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 dun. La 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 la, Forza Ferrari. La 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 la, the F1 is back. Oh yeah. Dun, 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 dun. La la la, Forza Ferrari. What an amazing race that was. Oh yeah. La 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 la, la la la, la la la, da 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 da. Who is the best? We got the best package and the engine. Forza Ferrari, Forza Ferrari, Forza Ferrari, Scuderia. Let's go Ferrari, we will be winning many titles for Scuderia Ferrari. Forza Ferrari, Forza Ferrari, la 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 la, da 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 da. Yay! And we got it, we got it, we got it. Forza Ferrari, everybody, and now say